Want to keep your notary commission active and essential? Well, you're in the right place. Discover the step-by-step process to renew your notary commission in Connecticut and ensure you're always in demand. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking the exact regulatory framework you need to follow to maintain your status as a notary public in the Constitution state. We're going to break down the specific timelines, the mandatory digital platforms, and the local municipal steps that you literally cannot afford to miss.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is a quick roadmap of what we're covering today. First, an introduction to notary commission renewal, then eligibility criteria and requirements, followed by the step-by-step renewal process. After that, we'll hit some practical insights and examples, go over fees, deadlines, and important dates, and finally, wrap up with additional considerations and resources. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Introduction to Notary Commission Renewal in Connecticut. Now, your timeline here is incredibly precise. A Connecticut Notary Public Commission is issued for a strict term of exactly 5 years, and your authority to perform notarial acts terminates at midnight on the exact expiration date, which is always the last day of the month in which you were originally appointed. Timely renewal is absolutely critical, guys, because if you miss this deadline, your authority essentially vanishes like a pumpkin at midnight, which can cause some pretty severe disruptions to your business or employment. Moving right along to Section 2, Eligibility Criteria and Requirements. Let's look at the baseline needed to maintain your status. So, to renew, you've got to still meet the basics. Be at least 18 years old, you must be a resident of Connecticut. But, and this is great, non-residents can absolutely still renew as long as your primary business address remains physically located right there in Connecticut. You also must maintain good moral character, obviously, and cannot have engaged in notarial misconduct or had a professional license revoked. Oh, and here is a massive takeaway for you. You must keep your email address updated with the state. As you'll see in a second, email is pretty much the only way the state is going to communicate your critical renewal info to you. Okay, on to Section 3, the step-by-step renewal process. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how streamlined yet totally rigid this 5-step sequence is. First up, about 90 days before you expire, you'll receive a renewal notification letter via email from the Secretary of State containing a unique PIN. Second, you take that PIN and log straight into the state's e-license portal. Third, submit your application and pay your filing fee online. Fourth, the state will email you your new certificate of appointment within a few business days. And finally, step 5, which is huge, you take that printed certificate to your local town clerk to record your oath of office. And this official notice right here from the Secretary of State shows exactly why that digital workflow is mandatory. Connecticut simply does not accept paper applications on old forms anymore. You have to use the e-license system. Honestly, if you try to mail in a physical application, it's just going to get disposed of. The digital portal is your one and only gateway to get this done. Let's pivot a bit to Section 4, Practical Insights and Examples. Let's talk about where most notaries actually trip up. This table highlights the stark difference between a super smooth renewal and a disastrous one. To ensure things go smoothly, always use a desktop or laptop computer. Why? Well, a really common pitfall is trying to renew using iOS mobile devices. The state's e-license portal has known software incompatibilities that cause major system errors on Apple mobile products. Another key insight here, act early in your 90-day window. If you wait until a post-expiration grace period, your authority to notarize is completely suspended until that renewal clears. All right, listen up, because here is a massive trap you absolutely need to avoid. We call it the 30-day voiding clause. Getting that shiny new certificate via email from the state, that's really only half the battle. Connecticut law demands that you record this certificate and take your oath with your local town clerk within exactly 30 days. If you live in Connecticut, it's the town you live in. If you're a non-resident, it's the town where your Connecticut business is located. If you miss this 30-day local municipal deadline, no joke, your newly issued commission is instantly voided, and you'll be forced to start the whole shebang over as a brand new applicant.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 5, Fees, Deadlines, and Important Dates. Let's look at the numbers.
And this timeline brilliantly illustrates the strict 180-day window you are operating in. You can begin your fast-track renewal 90 days prior to your expiration. At day 0, boom, your authority instantly terminates. Now, you do have a 90-day post-expiration grace period to actually submit your renewal, but, and this is absolutely vital, you are legally prohibited from performing any notarial acts during that time. Once you hit day 91 post-expiration, your commission is fully lapsed. The fast-track portal closes, and you're stuck doing a formal reinstatement. So, what's all this going to cost you? Well, the fees are fixed by statute and they are non-refundable.
A standard on-time renewal through the state is $60. Once approved, recording it with your local town clerk is a separate $20 municipal fee. But look at that third row. If you let your commission fully lapse past that 90-day grace period, the state fee literally doubles to $120. Plus, a lapsed reinstatement means you have to act like a brand new applicant, sourcing a character reference, writing out a new handwritten jurat, and yes, retaking the state exam. Nobody wants to do that.
Now, there is a really nice financial perk here for a specific group. Active state employees of Connecticut, including members of the state police, are eligible for a complete waiver of the $60 state renewal fee provided they use their commission for official state business. Pretty great, right? You just attest your active state employment by answering yes to question 18 on the online application. Keep in mind, though, you are still on the hook for that $20 local town clerk fee.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 6, Additional Considerations and Resources.
So the crucial point once you're renewed is staying compliant. If you ever change your name or address, you have exactly 30 days to report it to the Secretary of State. And while Connecticut doesn't legally mandate a physical seal or a journal, both are highly, highly recommended. If you use a seal, it's got to have your exact commissioned name, the words Notary Public, and Connecticut. It's also just a best practice to maintain a bound, chronological journal to protect yourself from liability down the road. Lastly, if you do remote online notarizations, or RON, be acutely aware of Connecticut's strict limits. You are absolutely prohibited from remotely notarizing highly sensitive documents. So wills, trusts, living wills, and real estate closing packages, no way. Those must remain in-person paper transactions.
As a brief but important reminder, this explainer provides general information about renewing notary commissions in Connecticut and is not a substitute for legal advice. Always consult with a legal expert or refer to state-specific guidelines for personalized guidance. So I'll leave you with this question. Do you actually know your exact commission expiration date right now off the top of your head? Don't leave it to chance, and definitely don't rely entirely on an email reminder that might just end up in your spam folder. Go to the state's license lookup tool today, verify your status, and secure your 180-day window. Keep those credentials active, avoid the fees and hassle of a lapsed commission, and ensure you remain an invaluable asset in the state of Connecticut. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Catch you next time.